Hi everyone, my name is Jason Freeberg. I'm a product manager on Azure App Service. And in this video, let's talk about monitoring and logging for your applications on Azure. And let's start by talking about Azure Monitor. Now, if you're not familiar, Azure Monitor is the central sink for all of your logs and metrics on Azure, and not just for App Service. You can see in this diagram that you can send logs and metrics from your application, from the operating system, and the Azure resources themselves into Azure Monitor. From there, you can query and analyze those results with Power BI and Log Analytics. You can also set up alerts based on those queries and get text messages and emails. And then you can also set up auto-scaling rules using Azure Monitor. So in that previous video, when we were setting up auto-scale rules for App Service, under the hood, a lot of that infrastructure runs on top of Azure Monitor. So to get started with Azure Monitor, let's go back to our web app. And then down here on the left-hand side, we'll go into Diagnostic Settings. And this tab is where we set up our integration with Azure Monitor. So you can see here, I already have a diagnostic setting configured called App Service Logs. And if I click Edit Setting, you can see that I've selected to capture a few different log categories here. There's the App Service Antivirus Scan logs, HTTP logs, and console logs that are written by my application to the console. And then there's a few other log types selected here. And then I'm routing those logs to a Log Analytics workspace, which we'll see in a minute. But I can also send those logs to a storage account to archive them there. I can stream them to an event hub, and then I can also send them to a partner solution like Datadog. So now that we have a diagnostic setting configured, let's go back to the web app blade and we'll click on Logs. And this tab will bring us to a Log Analytics workspace. You can see here on the left-hand side, I have a few of those log types that I selected in the diagnostic setting. And we can write a quick query here for App Service console logs, and we'll just take the last 100 logs. So here we can see this is all of the logs that are written to the console of our web app. So here this is showing the startup logging from the App Service container. It's extracting our Node modules here. And if we keep going, we can see that the Node application is starting up roughly about here. And now we're seeing the Express logs. And then I can also filter this down, and I can add a condition where result description contains the string error. And if I run this, you can see here that we're only getting results back that contain the string error. So based off this query, I can share it with my team. I can also copy the results and send them. And then I can also set up an alert and get a text message or an email whenever this query reaches a threshold. Now, the other thing I want to call out is Application Insights. So if we scroll back up here on the left, Application Insights is the Azure native application performance monitoring software for Azure. You can enable this on App Service without any code changes. And under the hood, App Service will attach the monitoring agent to your application. And you can see here, I already have App Insights set up. So I'll click on View Application Insights Data. And then in here, we're looking at Application Insights for this resource. And if I click on Live Metrics, this will open a view of live metrics for my web apps, such as the request count, CPU and memory utilization. And if I pop over to the web app over here in this tab, I'll refresh this to send a few requests. And then if we come back over into live metrics, you can see here that the memory is starting to spike as those requests come in, and the request rate will pick up here in just a minute. You can also go into the Performance tab, and you can drill into the different API calls for your application. So you can see here, this is the GET requests for one of the edit pages for our Rentals app. And then you can go into samples for this and inspect the dependency calls for that transaction. So that was a brief overview of the different logging and monitoring solutions for Azure App Service. I hope you enjoyed the video, and thanks for watching.